a long time ago, I oversaw a research project called Do the Rubber Track. They invented a rubber track that would hopefully not pull apart or be what's called. I think it used nylon or some sort of cable system or whatever. It was kind of like a big tire, I'm pretty sure, or something like that. There is something about it. Anyway, though, but I spearheaded a research team that was designing a tractor to do rubber tracks, and they built a case version and some other versions. I don't think it was case at the time. I think it was called something else, but it was a basic tractor, and then later on it was what's called. It's basically the precursor to all the rubber tracks today. Anyway, though, I spearheaded a research project, and they created a full line of very successful tractors that were very well used and used a lot, actually, in farming and everything else. Like I say, I did a lot of inventing, and then later on I sponsored a lot of different programs. And the enclosed or previous video on my Facebook is that basically the culmination of that project and the tractors that they built and designed for that. Like I said, I'm basically the owner of Ingersoll Rand and Case and John Deere. And they were actually other smaller research groups that started building stuff and then were kind of squished together to make other companies. And they produced a very, very successful line of tractors from that throughout the years and all that other stuff. And then with computer technology and some other stuff, they were able to do even more. Anyway, I don't know. I was this very, 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 very wealthy computer entity or something, or just inventor. I had a lot of money at one point in time. And I used that money to invest it in all kinds of other research projects and programs. Projects. I don't like to say programs because it's kind of like computer, blah, blah, but it's not. But because it wasn't computer, it was reality, and it was projects. They're research lines, and basically that's what I spent my young life doing, is overseeing that. I was very, very, very rich at one point in time. I owned a lot of companies and a lot of very successful companies. And I basically transferred that into research projects, into getting or having people research different things that in several different areas of life and stuff. And this ended up, all these research projects kind of came together very quickly into basically what is modern day society. And there was STEAM research projects, there was music research projects, there was all kinds of research projects. And at the top of it all was me, and my inventing, and through all those inventions that I had, I patented, and then, but mostly my people were selling it. I was selling it. I was selling the products, and people were using the products and loving them a lot, and they were hugely successful. And even my not so successful stuff was pretty successful in learning or teaching humanity about things, teaching others about things. And then lots and lots of years later, these companies are very big and very wonderful and very influential. Things like Ingersoll Rand, John Deere, Ford Motor Company, even technically even Apple and Microsoft. They're all basically companies that were my companies before that I then asked to do other things with, and then they did. And these things changed life and society for everyone. Later on, I wanted a cell phone to be created, and one was created because of all my other research projects and programs and people. I had so many people working for me that that to get them, to ask them to do other things was very easy, and then they did. And then what you have basically is a whole bunch of different things. And it goes into basically the person I was. I was a great inventor, a very great inventor. I mean, I don't know. Was just able to see things that other people couldn't see, or just I had come up with so many things that so many groundbreaking things that nobody else could match me in a lot of things. And then I just culminated on that, and then I created a whole bunch of companies. I was just like, and then I want this group to go do that. I want that group to go do that. And I just kind of like my wacky, wild, kind of like just like the way I was just like, I had so much money, and I was such a great person that I just kept on, like building brick buildings in England. But before that, I was building shale buildings in England, and shale power plants, and water power plants, and water wheels, and I did a lot of free energy kind of stuff and a lot of steam energy kind of stuff. I was doing a lot of things for a lot of different things, and just overseeing all that. A lot of continuous power kind of things. Like water wheels, basically made out of wood, so it used a minimum amount of metal, and we only had a little bit of metal back then. So, and it just kind of the way everything just kind of formed up over the years, and slowly as more and more metal became more available, and there were more steam shovels. Then the steam shovels mined more, then this, then that, and it just kind of in 50 years, you get a lot of mined minerals and a lot of mined stuff. And it's just kind of the way it was. I mean, like originally, like this ring would have been impossible, but then through science and technology and so much power, and plus, there was a lot. I had a lot of water wheel dynamos too. I mean, when originally the water wheels powered actually belts, gut belts. Basically, they use gut to make the belts, and leather too. I think it was like some sort of weird thing that they did. I was really involved in that, but then later on they turned the water wheels over to dynamos, and then they ran electrical stuff, which really wasn't quite as efficient as the belts. The belts were actually a lot more direct drive, was a lot more efficient actually running a lot of the machinery, but they ran a lot of textiles for forever. But then as computers and stuff and mass production got to be more available and nuclear power and everything, but before we ran on water power and coal, and it worked out very well. In fact, I remember a lot of it. So anyway, and Zeppelins and all that other stuff. Anyway, and then now we have nuclear power plants, and then electricity is everywhere, and then great big huge factories where we're able to run 24 hours a day to create huge sheets of cloth. Originally, it was very labor intensive, but that very quickly became fully automated with like 90% of it. So anyway, yeah. So and then one person was able to run huge farms, and so then they could feed lots of people. In fact, so many people. And there was thatched roofs, and I was messing around with that. But then actually, red tile was the best, really. Um, and then other kind of roofing tar stuff. I spearheaded that research group as well, the tar roof tile stuff. And then I basically, I'm pretty sure I sponsored solar panel technology at one point. Because I felt that alternative energy was important. I also sponsored wind power stuff, I think, at some point. But that turned out to be, it kills a lot of birds, unfortunately, but still a lot of power is made by it. Diversifying and all that kind of stuff. Realistically, I think solar power is the best. But nuclear power, they say nuclear power can be made, we've had nuclear power since like 1900 or 1800, so a long time. I don't know why they say we haven't, because it's like, yeah, we had nuclear power back in 1200 actually. Thorium reactors and all that. I paid for a lot of buildings. And anyway, and that's kind of kept from the mass public. I don't know why, but it's kind of something that I, paid for. Anyway, whatever.